Next on AM 1480 WLEA, the Newsmaker Show. Here's Brian O'Neill.
And we have with us live this morning Hornell Mayor John Buckley. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Well, good morning, Brian, and what a gorgeous day, or at least it's trying to be a gorgeous day out there as the clouds start to break apart, and I do see a little bit of blue up there, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, what did you make of the whole air quality thing, John? It's back to normal now, but who knows how long that'll last.
Yeah, it's strange in our neck of the woods to have to experience something like that. I think probably out west it's more commonplace. As you near California, Montana, some of those western states that typically have to deal with that type of thing on a somewhat regular basis. I know, having some relatives out west, just talking to them over the years, they've had to deal with that, pretty consistently, and I think it's expected. But over this way, just because things are typically more green, more wet, we don't really have to deal with the fallout from forest fires and wildfires and that. So with what happened in Canada, or what's still going on up there, for the wind to shift as it did in such a manner to bring the smoke, to such a level, certainly, extremely out of the ordinary. But we deal with it like we deal with anything else, one day at a time. You take it as it comes. You do what you have to do. Unfortunately, it did negatively impact some sporting events and a lot of outdoor events. Especially with people who have underlying health issues to begin with, that can have a very negative impact on their quality of life and their health. So people had to stay inside to try to avoid or at least minimize their exposure to it. So hopefully that's that'll come and go and we can move on.
Well, we have parade tomorrow in Hornell. We have a parade. We have fireworks, all kinds of fun planned for tomorrow. What haven't I mentioned that is happening tomorrow with the 4th?
Oh wow, there's a lot lined up tomorrow, and you touched on it on Independence Day, 4th of July coming up tomorrow. We kick it off with the parade at noon, and the parade route will be from Community Bank on Genesee Street. We'll line up on Genesee, go down Seneca onto Main Street, and go to the end of Main to the Main Street Bridge. And we've had quite a big turnout the last several years, and again, we're watching the weather here, and there is a possibility of some showers throughout the day. Looks like a couple of stray storms might pass through, but we're keeping our fingers crossed for that sunshine. Looks like it's going to be a warm one, Brian. Looks like it might get up in the lower to mid 80s tomorrow. It does look like we're going to have some sun, but we'll certainly keep our eyes out, keep our fingers crossed that those storms don't pass through. But some of their functions down to Broadway, so we'll actually have a car show. Cruising Time is sponsoring the car show. That'll be in the Center Street parking lot. Then we'll have bounce houses and games and food vendors down on Broadway this year. And then of course the big fireworks show. As we get into the nighttime down at James Street Park, and it will be a huge fireworks show this year. The city partnered with Hornell Partners for Growth again to provide the fireworks, and we're excited for that one. It's going to be a big show.
All righty, Mayor Buckley. Sounds like a great time. Hornell City Pool, what's going on with that?
Yeah, the city pool will be open tomorrow, and of course the city has partnered with the YMCA over the last several years, and I'm happy to announce that I'm actually sponsoring the pool tomorrow. So it'll be free swim from 12:30 till 8 o'clock. So they're actually staying open late at the pool tomorrow for the Independence Day festivities. And again, it'll be a free swim to everyone. So come on down, bring your swim trunks, bring a towel, and take a dip on me. It'll be a good time down there. And it should be plenty warm.
Have you begun work on the courts and the different things you're going to do at the park, John, James Street Park, Veterans Memorial Park at James Street?
Wow, look at that seamless segue. That's pretty good, Brian. So we're down at the park, and we're talking about the Independence Day and swim and all that. And what a perfect time to talk about the project that we're going to be getting under. We're actually out to bid right now for that project, and we've talked about this a little bit before. So that project down at James Street Park involves tennis court replacement. So the tennis courts, if you look at them, they're cracked. They're really showing their age. A lot of wear and tear over the decades. So we're going to replace the tennis courts, but we have 4 tennis courts down there now. So what we're planning to do is to replace the tennis courts. It'll be the same footprint, but we'll reduce the tennis courts from 4 to 3, and the area of the 4th tennis court will be converted into 2 pickleball courts. So we'll have 3 tennis courts and then 2 pickleball courts down at the end. So that's one phase of that project. The other one, another one is the basketball courts. That'll be resurfaced and refreshed. Then we turn our attention over to the pool house. Pool house renovations include the installation of another bathroom, complete overhaul and renovations of the locker rooms, including the lockers themselves, and then the pool itself. So the baby pool, we are planning to convert the baby pool into a fun splash pad / spray park for the kids. So that would be all the active water activated things to spray water, dump water on the kids, and something a little bit more interactive and more fun than just a small baby pool. The splash pads have really gained in popularity over the years, and just talking to folks throughout the city, it seems to be more excitement, and I think it would probably get used a lot more than the baby pool. So we're excited to have that. So that project is actually out to bid now. We have the bid opening scheduled on the 14th, which is less than 2 weeks away. So hopefully we'll get some good numbers in when the bids are opened and get that project underway at the end of the season. So basically after summer's over, hopefully if everything goes well, we'll get into construction there.
Sounds great. Mayor Buckley, what about the work we see over by Community Bank there on the new Union Park? What's the latest there?
Yeah, they're cranking away. They're working as we speak. They're moving along. We had the curb machine in a week or so ago, putting some of the curbing in. And if you walk by, you see some of that concrete work is starting to take shape. And where the flower beds are going to be, and some of the plantings. Not to mention the curbing around the perimeter of the park as well. They'll get into later this month. They'll get into putting the sidewalks in, and not just around the park, but throughout the park as well. Then they'll get into putting some of the footers in for the stage. One of the components of the park will be a raised stage with a roof over it, so we'll have a covered stage for performances throughout the year, live performances. One of the things that I've been talking about and I've kind of made a goal of is to have to bring back that Thursday night concert series. Remember years ago, Brian, we had the Thursday night concert series on Broadway, and that was very popular for quite some time, and then it kind of fell off. We had that green space on Broadway, and we lost that. It was purchased by a private individual, and it kind of just ran its course down there, and we tried it at a couple different places. It didn't really pan out, but Union Square Park will be just a perfect place for that. We'll have the stage right there. We'll have plenty of seating available. We'll have the electricity. We'll have the lighting, everything that a band would need. So I think it's an ideal place right in the heart of downtown. So that's something to look forward to. But that project's really picking up steam. They've been laying the electricity, the conduits, the water and drainage lines. They've been doing all these things underground, getting that ready. So now they're basically preparing for the concrete work, and it'll be quite a bit of concrete work. But the other thing I mentioned is the flowers, the plantings, and trees. And we'll have several trees that'll be planted throughout the park as well. So once it starts to take shape, it'll be absolutely beautiful, and we're really looking forward to it. It'll be a great addition to downtown.
Sounds nice, Mayor Buckley. Mayor John Buckley, our guest this morning, day before the 4th of July. What do we got? What's the latest in the street paving? I know that there was some. It's been done. Any more in the works?
Yeah, well, we've been cranking out the streets this year, Brian. So far we've done no particular order. Rose and Orchard and West Van Scooter, Crosby Street, which was a huge project in itself. Going from basically JC's Cafe to the city limits. We've also just more recently completed Thatcher Street, which is another large, long street. Steuben Street, Irving Place, Kansas Ave. The next street to go is Buffalo. So Buffalo, as it goes into Loader Street. Last week, our crews were over there, assisting with the milling. So that's all milled off, and we'll get dolomite in here, formerly known as blades, and they'll resurface all of that. So a little bit of prep work, on the street ahead of time. We'll have to, go in, and I know the crews are out, raising or lowering or adjusting the manhole covers and the water boxes out there to, all the prep work before the actual blacktop comes in. And just depending on Mother Nature and the rain and dolomite schedule, they'll be in here pretty soon to put that blacktop back over and get that buttoned up. After that, we'll see what we have left in our CHIPS funding and our street and road work funding. See where we're at. See if we can maybe squeeze another a couple streets in. We'll just have to play that by ear once we get all the bills in. As you know, we have certain funding streams through New York State, specifically for street paving. There's CHIPS. There's POP, which is pave our potholes. There's extreme winter recovery money. There's 3 or 4 basically dedicated funding sources through the state, and through those sources and through the help of our legislators, because they've increased the amounts over the past couple of years, we've been able to do a little bit more. And obviously, there's inflation that goes into that. So they, definitely working with Senator O'Mara and Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, Assemblywoman Marjorie Burns. Streets and road paving has always been one of their top priorities, and they've been just huge advocates trying to, get a little bit more money in the pot for those critical pieces of infrastructure that we rely on every day, and in that street. So kudos to our, state legislative team for being able to get that across the finish line. But we've got a lot of infrastructure work out there, Brian, and we're just scratching the surface here. We've got projects down at the wastewater plant that we've talked about, and several others in the hopper.
That's terrific, Mayor John Buckley. What about, we talked about the streets there. What about the skating park down at the Shawmut? What's the latest there?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So, we've been very aggressive in pursuing grant funding to improve our parks. So, we just talked about the grants or the project down at James Street, and that'll be most likely $800,000, even possibly $1 million project by the time it's all said and done. Union Square Park, that is roughly a $1.2 million project. So up at Shawmut, Shawmut is a gorgeous park in its own right, and a little bit different than James Street. It's got it's got a pond up there. We're doing right now. We're doing a deck replacement. We have a fishing pier that has been kind of in rough shape over the last several years. So we've got that ripped apart, and we'll be replacing the ramp and the decking on that this summer. But the skate park itself, if you look at the skate park, it sits on a large concrete pad, and the skate park basically populates half of that pad. So through the help of city planner Heather Reynolds, we're preparing an application to submit to New York State later this month to do an addition to that skate park. So basically what we'd like to do is fill up the entire concrete pad and basically double the size of the skate park. The skate park is heavily used, especially this time of year. We get a lot of people from out of town that come down and use it as well, from other municipalities. Certainly students from Alfred University, Alfred State College come down and use it. So the park does get a lot of use. Just in the past couple of years, we've invested $20,000 in materials to resurface the ramps over there, and I've got to thank a good friend, Matt Miller, who is local ramp builder here in the area. He volunteered, countless hours of his time to, not only strengthen the ramps, but to, do all the work to resurface them. And, without his efforts, that project wouldn't have, it would have taken a lot longer than it did. So he did a really nice job down there. So, yeah, just trying to, continuously invest in our parks. Recreation is a huge part of our community. Just getting out in our parks, enjoying the recreation, whether it's, walking, riding bikes, basketball, tennis, swimming, whatever it is, we have a park that fits the needs, and it's important to continuously invest. Going back to James Street, it's not actually in the project. We're doing it just through our budgetary process, but we've got $40,000 in playground equipment on order, which will probably end up being delivered sometime toward the end of the year, early next year. So that'll be a spring project for us. So next spring, look for additional playground equipment to be installed down at James Street Park as well. So we're investing in all our parks and building a new one, Brian. So it doesn't get much better than that.
That's great. Talking to Hornell Mayor John Buckley live this morning. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about the Hampton Inn, the new boces house, and other issues. Stay with us.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection that fits your life is something they take, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping to personalize protection to meet them. From bundling your auto and home insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage based on your protection needs, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. Are you in good hands? Contact the Hornell Allstate Agency of Michelle Cornell Herbert at 607-324-5611 today for a free quote. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Now, the Classy Cafe is open today being Monday, July the 3rd. Classy Cafe will be closed for Tuesday the 4th and Wednesday the 5th, reopening Thursday at 6 a.m. Today's specials down at the Classy Cafe, where once again they're open today. Appleberry specialty tossed salad, panini sandwiches, soup of the day, cheddar broccoli soup. Classy Cafe, Main Street, Hornell. Get there before 11 for a great breakfast. And call ahead if you'd like at 607-661-4854. We are back with Hornell Mayor John Buckley. What's the latest on the new boces house on Upper Bennett?
Yeah, so the city's had the parcel on Upper Bennett, on the corner of Upper Bennett and Lincoln for quite some time, and we've kind of held it in reserve for a boces house some year. So we're actually looking at that property to develop. We'll have to do some site work up there, obviously some leveling, build the foundation to the house. But that's a site that we're planning to put the next boces house on, and that'll be a one-story ranch-style house. Similar to what you've seen in the past couple of years over on Preston Avenue, another house on Front Street that the city and boces partnered together with, and we put in, I think, 13. So I think Preston Ave was our 13th house. And what a successful program it's been. The challenge to the program is really not building the houses; it's finding a lot, a suitable lot to place them on. And as time goes by, it does become a little bit more difficult because there's only so many lots out there, Brian. So we're very we stay in tune with through the county land bank, the county tax auction, to see what opportunities are out there, what properties become available. And again, it's been a great partnership all the way around. What a great thing it is for the boces students. All that hands-on learning, and what a legacy they leave behind. Think about it that way. And and every year I go up and look at the house and talk to the students. I always remind them of the legacy they leave behind, because they're not just simply building a house up at the boces campus and then moving on to the next thing. That house goes on a lot, and people move into it. You might move your family into it. You might start a family in it, and memories are made, and that house will remain there for generations and generations. So it really they're really leaving a legacy behind of sorts, and what a great thing for them.
Mayor John Buckley, the Hampton Inn. How many weeks do you think till that's opened up?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have a definitive answer. I don't have a hard date on the calendar, but I do know they're making great strides, making a lot of progress over there. And I would imagine sometime end of summer, early fall, they'll be rocking and rolling over there. I believe they're already starting to look at hiring and maybe getting some people on and getting them trained. So. Looks like it's full steam ahead for the Hampton Inn project over there, and what a great project that will be for the city. As you know, we only have one hotel inside the city limits right now, and when you have so much more. Business coming our way with Alstom and TTA and all these other businesses. Not to mention Alfred. People forget about Alfred. We do have. People that fly into the municipal airport and go to Alfred and go to other places around, and they need a place to stay. And having a business class Hampton Inn hotel right here in the city of Hornell, right next to the Wegmans Walmart Plaza, I think is going to be a huge benefit. And look at the investment. You're having millions of dollars invested here in the city of Hornell, and that's a good thing too, not to mention the job creation. So, those are good things all around.
We've been speaking with Hornell Mayor John Buckley. We went wall to wall with local issues. Let's talk a little bit about the Supreme Court, Mayor. Did you have any thought on the recent Supreme Court rulings?
Well, the one that really popped. Well, there's a few. The Supreme Court's been busy lately, and they've been making headlines along the way. One of the big stories that I think a lot of people are talking about is the Biden student loan forgiveness program, or whatever you want to call it. And the crux of it is, the president wanted to unilaterally forgive student loans, at least up to a certain dollar amount for a certain time. Supreme Court obviously struck that down, but I agree with that. I think the Supreme Court got it right. They basically said the president doesn't have the authority to forgive debt, and that would be a function of the legislature, and that is true. I'll use the city of Hornell for example. Even though it's we're at a much smaller level, obviously, than the federal government. The mayor does not have the power to forgive taxes, for instance. We'll just use that for a generic example, right? So. Only the legislative branch would have the power and the authority to forgive a debt or forgive taxes, and you have to go through those. You have to go through those functions to do so. And Congress was not involved. The House wasn't involved. The Senate wasn't involved. So, I think the Supreme Court nailed this one right on the head and got this one right.
John Buckley, I think you're being mean. I mean, shouldn't everybody else pay someone else's student loans?
I think if you owe money, you should pay it back, and whether it's a student loan, a car payment, a mortgage, or what have you, when you sign your name on the dotted line, you are agreeing to the terms of whatever contract it is, or whatever interest rate that is, whatever the terms of the loan it is, and you should. Pay that back, just like you've had to, just like I have had to, and everyone else before us, Brian. It's no different.
Mayor John Buckley is never mean. I want to thank you so much for being so nice to come on the show, Mayor.
Anytime, Brian. Always happy to do it, and I hope everyone out there has a happy and safe Independence Day.